I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music. Today, an album I've been looking forward to, another one, the Walkmen, their fifth album, sixth overall album, sixth release, Lisbon. The Walkmen. If you're not familiar with the Walkmen, well, you probably haven't heard of indie rock. They've been huge. They're one of the bigger indie rock bands of the 2000s. Now, they're not mainstream. They haven't had any big hits besides The Rat off of their first album, which everyone...
Second album, I think. Right? Bows and Arrows? Wasn't that on?
Was that on Bows and Arrows?
Yeah, I think so.
I apologize. Yeah, I think you're right, and I'm thinking of another song. But Everyone Who Pretended to Like Me Is Gone came out in 2002. They had Bows and Arrows in 2004 or 5, and then there's been a couple albums since then, and then now this is their newest 2010 album, Lisbon, and they kind of just threw this one together pretty quickly. In fact, I heard that the track Lisbon, which is the closer, and it's a longer track, it's a 7-minute long song, it wasn't even going to be on the album. And then they just included it and then named the album after it because it just made the album. And I love hearing stories like that. I love it when bands take the time to coordinate things like that, and I think it worked. To give you guys a hint, if you haven't heard the Walkmen, what their sound sounds like, clean, and minimal. That's what the Walkmen's all about. They're art rock, almost to a T. It's just so clean. You'll have guitars with just maybe a little reverb, but that's it. Otherwise, they're just electric guitars. And you'll have cleanly produced acoustic drums. You'll never have electronics. Maybe some piano in there. Very like stand-up piano. They really like stand-up pianos. Kind of gives it a more airy feel, where you get a lot of that atmosphere. You hear some background noises in the recordings.
Airy is a good word to use for this album because it's strange how minimal it is. You've got these very clean-cut lead guitar parts and very just kind of, I mean, the drummer, it sounds a lot of the time like he's just kind of lightly, like with brushes hitting his set.
Absolutely.
Yet, still, they've got this full atmospheric sound. They're really filling in the spaces with reverb, sometimes some very soft, like strings or horns, just kind of sitting in the background.
Did you notice the standing bass? They're known for standing bass, which I love standing bass, having played in jazz band, and I'm sure you do too, being a bass player.
Having played stand-up bass, yes.
And it's just a lot of tack that goes into it. Now, Tom compared their vocalist, who has a very unique voice, to something kind of like, it's the loudest part of the music, and it sounds kind of like Dylan. Yeah. And I actually like his voice a lot. I could see how someone could be turned off by the voice, and vocals in general, but I think that if you give it a shot and do warm up to it, that it really makes, kind of rounds out the sound.
I agree.
But this album, the Walkmen here have kind of done something that I think shakes things up for them, and I think a lot of their fans and a lot of people who are familiar with the Walkmen's work will probably like this less than their last couple releases, because where they've steadily been moving and changing their directions and been moving in a single direction, here they're kind of going, no, we're going to go back and do what we did in our first album, but still incorporate some of the other things that we've done. A lot like what we just reviewed of Montreal's False Priest. Not in sound, just in how they did it. And that's just kind of quoting what they've done so far and saying, hey, this is my essay, what I learned this year. And that's how I feel that Lisbon is, and I think it takes all the best qualities and the best talents that this band's had and exemplified over the past 5 albums and 6 albums, and puts it out there in an 11-track kind of buffet for you to eat up. And really, I've been blabbing. I'll let you. I'll give it over to you in a second.
I don't have too much to say, so.
My favorite thing about the Walkmen, which is true in this album, is just how they're able to, in a very post-rocky way, focus the mood. This whole album is about songwriting and mood, using songwriting to convey mood, and that mood to me is late fall and early winter. And I typically get into the Walkmen in late fall, early winter, and since it's starting to be late fall or mid to late fall right now in the state of Iowa, I am digging this, and I love it. And I think that any time that you have acoustic instruments and bands using acoustic instruments and not using electronics like every other band out there to make mood, awesome. The lack of synth, refreshing. It's like, oh, here's ice cold water. That's how I feel about the Walkmen. What do you think?
I liked it. To tell you the truth, and this is going to be geared towards an indie kid like you, a lot more than it's going to be geared towards me. I still enjoyed it, but I'm not going to lie, at times I got a little bored. There's just a lot of slow-moving parts in here. That's why 2 of my track picks are going to be 2 of the more rockin' tracks. But still, like I said earlier, I was very impressed at their ability to make a mood minimalistically, fill out the space when there really isn't a lot going on. I think that that's an impressive trait. Especially when the vocalist, who does a very good job, and he's a standout aspect of this album, I like that he's able to make such good, memorable, creative melodies when there's not much going on to support him.
I like that you pointed that out.
I think that just shows a good, talented vocalist, someone who knows his skill, his
forte.
What's the word I'm looking at? I don't even know what I was looking for.
I'm sorry, man.
Whatever. Yeah, so someone who knows his field.
Yeah.
What he's doing.
Yep. What are your track picks?
I'm going to go with the first two tracks, Juveniles and Angel Surf City, good rockin' track, and then track 6, Victory.
I'm actually surprised you didn't pick track 4, Blue Is Your Blood. That was one of my track picks. I thought that moving guitar part was very cool, and even kind of a cool thing for the Walkmen to do that I haven't heard yet. Juveniles, track 1, as Tom said, and then 2 more, track 7, All My Great Designs. I love that track, and then 10, While I Shovel the Snow. Perfect winter track. What a great track name.
Oh, yeah.
Captured mood and atmosphere, and that just drives me up the wall. I like this album. I think it's solid. The only thing it's lacking is ambition. With minimalistic music, you're always going to have that, but contextually, it's an 80 for me.
I'm going to go 71. Is it enjoyable? Definitely better than the 60s Range album. For me, there was just too much slow space.
Kid's a metalhead, what can you say?
I know. I'm guilty.
We all have our faults,
I'm guilty.
We all have... Just kidding, Tom.
I know.
What do you guys think? A lot of Walkman fans out there, I think, are not going to like this. Let me know. Let Tom know. Let VIMTV know. The collective brain of VIMTV wants to know what you think about Lisbon. Let us know. Because that last track, we didn't pick it for our track picks, but I actually think it's quite good and rounds the album out. What do you guys think? Let us know. Leave us a comment down there. Thank you. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
We are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.